Hi, my name is Laura, and I'm making this video so that there is a public record of why I left the Jehovah's Witness organization, and I hope that my family at some point can hear this and find it in their hearts to see the reason behind it. So I need to go into a little bit of background. I was raised Jehovah's Witness, and my whole family is Jehovah's Witness, my immediate family. My mom was raised Jehovah's Witness. My dad became Jehovah's Witness when he met her. And we were homeschooled until 8th grade. My dad was an elder. My mom pioneered. My older brother went to Bethel when I was 14. And I love my family very, very much. I love my family very, very much. And the faith that they have towards Jehovah is core to their beings. And when I had to leave, it really crushed my family. I was married. It crushed my husband, destroyed our lives. All but destroyed my parents' lives, and I realize how hard that was on everyone, and that's why I need to explain why that decision was made. It took a long time to make it, so it was very, very confusing and hard to make, and at the time I had no way to explain it to anyone. And so I just left, and there are so many people I have not talked to since, people that were my only, they were my family, like brothers and sisters to me for the first 23 years of my life, and now for the last 8 years, I have not spoken one word to them. And all because I was baptized as a Jehovah's Witness, and when I chose to leave, I was disfellowshipped. So why did I choose to get baptized? Because I believed what I was told. Because I wasn't shown any other way. Hold on a minute, the dogs are barking. Okay, so why did I get baptized? I got baptized because I believed. Because I wanted to do good. And I wanted to make my family proud. I wanted to feel good. And everything I was told me that in order to be happy and do what's right and live a fulfilling life, this is the only life. It's the only way. And that is the way that they live true to that belief. So far as to keep their friends, close friends, only Jehovah's Witnesses. That even goes so far to include their family. If they're not Jehovah's Witnesses, it's a very distant place that they're kept at. So that was how I was raised, and I wanted to make my parents proud. I always wanted to make the world as happy as I could. Not just my parents, but my sister, my brothers, my friends. The kids at school, I was always the protector, and I stuck up for everybody, and I always tried to do the best I can. And so when I was 12, I got baptized because I believed that it was the right thing to do. And because I only saw one way. So then I eventually got married. My husband was a Jehovah's Witness too. We were both pioneering when we got married. But let's talk about the reality of it for a second. The reality of it was, even as a little kid growing up, I saw in my family and in the members of the congregation and in myself, mostly in myself, a very honest inability to live in this level of purity that they expected. I miserably failed, and it always for me had to do with sex, but it's different for everybody. But from as a little kid that energy left me knowing that I was obviously sinning and doing something very, very wrong. And I couldn't even understand why. I couldn't even control it. I could not control it. I was 8, I was 5, 6 when these things were happening to me through my teenage years. Then after I got a boyfriend at 14, 15, we had sex before we were married, but we were so deathly afraid of letting anyone down that we hid it. And it was our worst secret. And we lied to the elders when we were 19 so that they would marry us still. And nobody would know. But it weighed on me very, very heavy. And there would be times, many, many times, every few months I would just break down and I wouldn't be able to stop crying, and it would last several days, and I would cry about how we weren't going to make it into the paradise because our lives were built on a lie. We were doing all of this work for nothing. So eventually, at 22, after carrying this for 3.5 years, we told an elder. And he listened, and he told us it would be okay, and that he would talk with the other elders, and he said it would be okay, and we believed him, and we were excited to start over. So, start fresh. We were allowed to keep pioneering. He stepped down as a ministerial servant, and we just kept trying. A year later, though, I realized how there was no getting better. There was no feeling better. I was always going to feel like I wasn't good enough. And my family would too. And we were never good enough. And we want to be good people. And we want to try to help our neighbors so bad. And be close to God. And feel connected with the good. But I looked around at 23 and I couldn't find that reality. I couldn't find any peace in anybody. And me and my family and many of my close friends asked many times for help from the brothers in the congregation for shepherding visits. For years, 2, 3 years, you don't even know the things my family went through in the meantime. My grandma died, my uncle died. We took care of all of them in our home. And we loved each other, and we learned about love at the Kingdom Hall. And we're in love with love. But it wasn't real. It wasn't really there. It was said that it was there, but it wasn't there. And so one day, I didn't know how to rationalize any of this because I didn't know of anything else. And I didn't know of anything else. I was working outside of the house finally at an art center, which was really, really good for me because I got to see people in the real world and see what life was really kind of like for people that weren't Jehovah's Witnesses. And I was at an assembly, and the circuit overseer was giving a part about the effect the world has on our spirits. And he said that our spirits are being us. We're like sticks of gum. You know, we're full of flavor, and we're delicious and beautiful and full of possibility. But when we leave Jehovah's organization, it's like that piece of gum getting taken out of its wrapper and getting chewed up. So the world chews us up and sucks all the flavor out and enjoys us for a little while, and then when we're not so flavorful anymore and beautiful anymore, it spits us out and sticks us under a chair. And he gave this analogy of seeing these sticks of gum on wads of gum after they cleaned a stadium to prepare it for an assembly, and how disgusting this big jug of chewed up gum was. And as I sat there and I listened to this analogy, I thought to myself, you know what? That's not true. That is not true. And I know that because I know people in the world, and I know a lot of people in the truth, and I've known a lot of people in the truth for a long time, and I'm an adult now. And I know that the majority of the people that I know in the truth are not happy. They are crushed and trying so hard and left always feeling like they never quite made it good enough. And so I knew that this thing he was saying from the stage was not true. And I finally had what I needed to be able to hear that, to say, you know what? I know that that's not true. For the first time, I'm hearing something being said up there that I know is not true. This is the first time. So finally, I had a mental platform to stand on, some base of reason that if that's not true, then I need to take a step back. So I told my husband that. I didn't even know how to explain it at the time. I told him it was because I wanted to do things I couldn't do. It's taken me 8 years to just know that it was that comparison that I was seeing in people that made me know that I had to step back for my best interest, for whatever children I may have's best interest, for my own sanity. I had to take a step back and reason everything out from the ground up, because this was not making sense. So, unfortunately, because I decided at 12 to get baptized, that then meant that I needed to be disfellowshipped. So it's a long story of what I did. I can go into it more. Maybe I'll do that in another video. How I left the Jehovah's Witnesses. This was why I left. Because after I became an adult, I saw a stark comparison in the spirits, the general spirit of people. And I decided to stop being afraid to find out what that was. So I took a step back. Maybe I'll go into it some more later. So thanks for listening. I'm Laura from Michigan, and I'm having a lot of fun.